Joining me now, CNBC editor-at-large John Harwood, and my panel, Bret Stephens and Meghan Murphy, are here. John, let's start with you. You're our D.C. insider. I was looking for the trade announcement. I didn't hear it. Did you?
No. The only thing the president offered in that speech were assertions that he has improved relations between the United States and other leaders, great relationships, that sort of thing. But there's no evidence for that. In fact, if you look at polls measuring America's standing in the world, we see that esteem for the United States has gone down under his presidency. And on trade, while he has pulled out of the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which had been negotiated over many years and concluded under President Obama, the other signatories to that agreement are now going ahead with their own agreement without the United States. And by the assessment of most international observers, that is ceding leadership in the Asia-Pacific region to other countries, in particular China.
I mean, China is becoming a superpower here. I'm reading David Ignatius, Ian Bremmer this morning. Did President Trump get played? Yes, they might perform a rose ceremony and do a dance, but as far as what real tangible takeaways were, I don't see any.
I mean, what's remarkable is China actually has a weak hand. I mean, they have bad growth figures. They have bad demographic figures. They alienated most of the region throughout the Obama years with heavy-handed tactics in the South China
Sounds like
Sea.
you're talking about Russia.
Right. But so we were in a sweet spot. All of the region from South Korea to Japan to Taiwan, Vietnamese, they were coming to us. All we had to do was consolidate a relationship with them, and we would have had a much stronger hand to play against the Chinese. But Trump arrives with an America First agenda, which is essentially ingratiate yourself with your enemies and distance yourself from your allies. I mean, how is it that we intend to forge a closer alliance with South Korea when we're busy ripping on the trade deal that we just agreed with them? So naturally, the rest of the region, they, after all, have China as a neighbor. They are going to gravitate toward Beijing in the absence of American leadership. And this is what's happened. And the worst of it is that Trump constantly is mistaking respect for flattery. That is, if he gets flattery, he feels he's being respected. Actually, he's being played.
I mean, I think John Harwood brings up a really great point as well with TPP. Now, we can argue about whether TPP was dead under President Obama due to a lack of Democratic support as well. But you did see other nations go ahead and forge this alliance and move forward with it. Again, forcing us to the peripheral of what we need, which is crucial trade relations and crucial investment opportunities and opportunities for American business abroad. China is emerging not only as a player in Asia, they're also turning their attention. They've already turned their attention to Africa. They're also looking at Latin America,
I mean, Africa,
Cuba.
China runs Africa, and
Zimbabwe.
we let this happen.
Look at what has happened with Zimbabwe just in the last 2 days. So this is what is interesting. Yes,
before we stage a military coup, let's ask China's permission.
And the next leader, whoever emerges from the fallout we see in Zimbabwe, will be looking for China's imprimatur to move forward. So here's the thing. In the absence of an American heavy hand of what we're going to do, not just on foreign policy, but in terms of manufacturing policy, investment policy, where we're looking for that next generation of American jobs, growth, and innovation, President Trump is not setting that agenda. He's letting the agenda be set for him.
John, how is the administration not seeing the stunning contrast between how we all are reading this? I mean, the trade deficit between the United States and China has only actually gone up. It's as though, to Bret's point, Trump is getting played and he doesn't realize it. But Gary Cohn and Steve Mnuchin, they must know.
I suspect the administration does realize it, which is why behind the scenes they're all trying to persuade him to do things like not pull out of NAFTA. But I think Bret's point is exactly the right one. It's something very weird about a president who talks about how tough he is, how America first he is, and talks about getting respect from other leaders, when in fact what he does is flatter Vladimir Putin, flatter Xi Jinping, express awe at his consolidation of power in China. Even today, when he was tweeting out about the UCLA basketball players who were freed, he was talking about them thanking him, but he said they really should thank Xi Jinping for what he did. It is a strange conception of American strength and leadership.
Can we talk for a moment about the importance of optics? President Trump will say the media is always going after him. Jimmy Carter said he has never seen a media go after a president as hard as we do President Trump. And then I look at the picture that Steve Mnuchin, it's not funny though, that Steve Mnuchin and his wife took yesterday, visiting the Mint. There it is. Here we are on a day when Congress is voting on this tax bill, where you know there's an estate tax in there. And the estate tax, wiping out the estate tax, does nothing but hook up the richest of the rich. A huge forever tax cut for corporations. Where is the personnel management in this administration who would think it's a smart idea for yet another Marie Antoinette let them eat cake photograph for Steve Mnuchin and his third wife to send out to the world?
Yeah, look, the optics are terrible, but it's also just, I disagree. It's not the case, as President Carter said, that Trump is getting it worse than others. I mean, does anyone remember how the media went after Bush in the wake of Planegate? I mean, think back to the way the media treated Reagan as the stupidest president who ever lived, or the media during the Clinton impeachment saga. So this is just a guy who thought an administration or president who thought he was being elected king, which is why he has basically this Peking envy for Xi Jinping, which is a media that will just flatter him and answer and give him simple questions, which
President Trump has one of those.
But here's the thing: it is not optics; it is reality. That picture of Steve Mnuchin summarizes the administration on this issue for this reason only. What they're fighting for and what they have done does not benefit the people who voted for them. It benefits the wealthy. It benefits the elite. The tax reform plan that they've passed, also stripping the individual mandate out of Obamacare if it goes forward. Look at this, repealing the estate tax, delivering multi-$100,000 tax cuts for people who make over $800,000.
Leaving carried interest in for private equity.
It is
real
not
estate.
Optics. It is reality, and that is the really thing that I feel the American people are going to realize.
Last point, John.
It also goes to the caliber and the judgment of the people the president appointed. When have you ever seen Tim Geithner's spouse or Larry Summers' spouse or Paul O'Neill's spouse vamping in front of the camera in the way that Louise Linton is doing that? And why Secretary Mnuchin allows that to happen, given how damaging it is to the administration, is a mystery to me.
How damaging it is to forgotten Americans who haven't gotten raises in 10 years. All right, we're going to leave it there.